Hello everyone, we are Group 7 and we have members as Nipesh, Tarun, myself Pratik, Pritish and Pratyusha. So we are going to present on green and sustainable shipping practices. So what are green and sustainable initiatives that are coming up in the world? So we have seen that examination and development of technological speculation is coming up greatly. Separate high venture and low speculations that could be connected to numerous boats to lessen their environmental effect. Corporate social responsibility and advertising is coming up. High environmental standards can achieve indirect benefits too. Company promotion, improve company's image, usually incorporated into the marketing strategy. Awareness and raising ecological training is also taking a good stand. Educating and raising awareness, encouraging environmental management improvements across the sector are some of the initiatives under this area. Some of the global initiatives that are coming up in the world are EcoShip project in Japan. The EcoShip ought to have capacity to cut CO2 discharges by decreasing the measure of vitality required to impel it by bringing down the weight and the drag of the vessel. Another initiative was post-Panamax ships, which was S-Class, and it was also called Evergreen, and it was developed in Taiwan. The S-Class ships incorporate a double-skinned hull and a high-capacity oil-water separator that enables the oil content of the wastewater to reduce below 15 ppm, and a larger separator bilge oil and a bilge oil holding tank that provides more storage capacity than normal, enabling the vessels to avoid any discharge when sailing in sensitive areas. Another project taken up was EcoShip by Sweden, a new patented hull shape to produce a 10% reduction in hull resistance compared to the then existing conventional designs, which reduce the wake formation, low NOx diesel electric propulsions, low fuel consumption and lower emissions were some of the features of this ship. Now I would like to invite Pritish to take over.
Thank you, Pratik. Now to take you at some more global initiatives, first we look at the green wave engines. It focuses on the reduction of the emissions. The current focuses on the use of 15 of the wind engines that can be utilized to provide an auxiliary power for the ships. It resulted in expected reduction in the greenhouse emissions till 13% of the total emission of the ship. It is mostly used for the bulk carriers and the tankers, which form a majority of the world tonnage and which can be reduced to take advantage of the auxiliary power provided by the rotor sails. Moving ahead is the fellowship program, which is taken up by Norway. It is actually a joint project launched in 2003 to develop the basic design of the fuel cell technologies for the ships. The project development used an auxiliary electric power pack of 320 kilowatt, which was fueled by LNG and was successfully installed in abroad the Viking Lady. The final phase of the project will test and demonstrate the main fuel cell of the electric system, and the project success till date will result in the huge amount of energy saving and which will leverage the shipping industry. The next is the air cavity system, which is by the DK group from the Netherlands. It has successfully developed an ACS or the air lubrication technology for over a decade. It has reduced the amount of fuel required to move the vessel. This technology has a payback period within 18 to 30 months with a fuel reduction of 5 to 15% depending on the type of the vessel. The group has recently launched a retrofit version of the ACS for the current global fleet, which has the same benefits as that of the new builds. Moving ahead, we'll look at the EcoSpec Global Technology by the Singapore. This is a research technology company specializing in advanced water and oil technologies. The technology reduces greenhouse gases from the marine vehicles, exhaust including pollutants such as sulfur dioxide, nitrous dioxide and significant carbon dioxide, all within one process and a single system. Especially CSNOx is the first commercially viable solution and is able to be cost effectively in a single process as well as a single system. It mostly focuses on the emissions of trading and the carbon tax on the fuel, so the ships will get leverage from this. Moving ahead, we have the seawater scrubbing system by the Hamworthy Crystallian UK. The mechanism of removing marine exhaust gases such as sulfur dioxide and particulate matter can be achieved by using the seawater scrubbing systems. The water has a property of absorbing the sulfur dioxide and it also traps the particulate matter. So the seawater scrubbing and the continuous emission monitoring technology help us to facilitate corporate social responsibility and helps us to go beyond the legal compliance while protecting the environment side by side. Moving ahead, we have the QualShip 21 developed by the United States of America. It is the United States Coast Guard's initiative which aims to eliminate the substandard shipping and provide targeting schemes identifying poor quality substandard foreign flagged vessels that operates within the US coastal waters. A quality vessel is associated with a well-run company and it has been classed with an organization that has a good track record, is registered with a flag state with a superior port state control record and has an outstanding port state control record in the US waters. Though this project has no financial gain, but with Qualship 21 accreditation, we can reduce PSC intervention and it has the potential as a marketing tool. So take you ahead, I would like to invite Tarun.
Thanks, Pritish. Now we'll look at Blue Circle Award, which has been conducted in Canada. It was launched as an initiative by Port of Vancouver. The award is rated by gold, silver, and bronze based on the efforts made to reduce air emissions, as well as the overall emissions and the type of fuel used by the vessel. Additional criteria taken into account includes the ship's classification society, environment designation, emission reduction technology, as well as alternative fuels. The next one is bonus system, which has been developed in Sweden. This system is applied in Sweden. It offers reduced harbor fees as per the ship's emissions of sulfur and nitrogen oxides and is intended to be revenue neutral. Those vessels of a lower standard pay a malus, which means they pay more dues in port and on the fairway than the service is worth. The next initiative is Carbon War Room, and this is a global initiative. The Carbon War Room is a non-profit organization that motivates the entrepreneurs to implement market-driven solutions to climate change. The War Room has three core functions: research and intelligence, communication, and operations. The Carbon War Room has launched as an online initiative called shippingefficiency.org, which allows commercial vehicles to be assessed and scored according to their emissions. The next one is Low Carbon Consortium, which has been conducted in UK. The Low Carbon Consortium is a collaborative project between 5 UK universities and other stakeholders, including NGOs and organizations within the shipping industry, such as Shell and Lloyd's Register. The consortium examines the relationship between present and future UK shipping and emissions within a time period of up to 2050. This will incorporate changes in shipping design, ship operations and logistics, as well as port improvements. The next one is a global initiative called the Voluntary Carbon Standard. The Voluntary Carbon Standard has been developed to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases through consultation with global experts. Now I would like to introduce Pratyusha to take over.
Now we take a look at enhancing trade competitiveness through sustainable shipping in India. If we take a look at figure 1, it shows the logistics costs for Indian economy. Logistic cost as a percentage of GDP, if we see in 2005 in India, was close to 15%. In Colombia it was 12%, and similarly we see in Europe it was the least. If we see what forms the logistic cost components for India, transport comprises 62%, inventory 34% and admin 4%. Moving on to the regulatory environment for Indian shipping. There have been global mandatory actions in the years 2013 and 2015, and 2020 the plan is that new ships must improve efficiency by 10% by 2020 and 30% by 2030. We also take a look at the comparison between Indian and global scenario for regulations and stakeholders. These are certain acts: Merchant Shipping Act 1958, Coast Guard Act, Water Act, Indian Ports Act, that are applicable in India, whereas globally there are a few more. Similarly, coming to stakeholders, the Indian division has the Director General of Shipping, Planning Commission, Ministry of Shipping, Indian Ports Association, Indian National Ship Owners Association and MASA. And globally there are much more. The UNESCO is a part of it, the Marine Safety Council IMO is a part of it, and several other large organizations are stakeholders in the global sustainable shipping industry. Moving on to the next slide, we talk about exploring sustainable ship recycling in India, and a major player in that field is Maersk. Out of the 768 ships that have been dismantled globally last year, 469 of them were done in India, Bangladesh and Pakistan. Maersk was actively looking into recycling ships responsibly and trying to match the practices followed in China or Turkey. There is an estimated surge in demand for ship recycling in the next 5 years, and companies are expected to incur an extra 150 million US dollars if they do not upgrade their recycling facilities in India. Maersk has chosen a Lang facility in India to upgrade its infrastructure in tune with the international standards, in compliance with both the Hong Kong Convention and the EU ship recycling regulations. These regulations will take care of anti-corruption, human rights, subcontractor matters, as well as labor rules. I'd like to hand over the presentation to Nipesh, who will take it forward.
Next, we'll look into the sustainable shipping practices across the globe in comparison to India. When we look into the global picture, the technological investment for research and technological design to make environmentally sound operations is very efficient. Also, collectively, they are looking to cut CO2 emissions by reducing the amount of energy required to propel it by lowering the weight and drag of the other vessel. Also, they are looking at energy usage efficiently with minimal emissions from the propulsion unit. Now, looking at the Indian side, we have a lack of infrastructure at ports, which is the leading cause of berthing woes of ships in Indian ports, which leads to an increase in emissions, energy use, and maritime pollution in the coming days. Also, oversaturation at ports causes a 25% increase in vessel turnaround and detention times. Maersk is one of the leading companies which is taking the responsibility of recycling the ships in India, which has led to a 61% of the ships being dismantled in India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. Thank you. Starter हो गया पूरा मेरा.